Thank you for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast series, where we profile those who have overcome or those who are in the process of overcoming any life topic. We have three objectives with this podcast series. Our first objective is we want you to know that whatever you're experiencing in life, whatever you're encountering, you're not alone. We want to join you to let you know that we together can help you through whatever challenge you may have that at the time may seem too difficult to be able to overcome. Our second objective is to help you determine with a very confident resolve there are multiple solutions, multiple factors involved in any life encounter. It's a matter of thinking into and thinking through the life situation you are encountering to determine the various options, the various solutions that are available to you. Our third objective is to help you with critical thinking skills. If whatever you're experiencing is a result of a decision you made sometime in the past, such that if you had a life redo, you would make a different decision, we want to help you determine the objective facts and factors to evaluate to help you reach a more informed decision. I'm Ron Cooper, founder of the Cooper Culture. I'm with my wife and business partner, Marty. Together we are the Cooper Culture, and the Cooper Culture is sponsoring this podcast series. Today we feature Anita Santoyo for the second episode, where she discusses a part of her life that she describes as living a facade. The term facade, we understand, is meaning artificial or fake. And Anita is talking about this in a way that she was a little bit unsure of her value, where she was in life. When asked, "How are you doing?" she'll tell you that she wasn't always accurate or honest in describing her feelings because she didn't feel that she could trust some people with being very honest and candid with them. It's a very insightful podcast where we learn about Anita, but the application could apply to a lot of people who are possibly in a facade and they don't even know it. They don't realize it. Marty, what are some takes that we can gain from this podcast?
Ron, there are two takes that I would like to mention from that. Anita goes into when she finally finds her purpose in life. And she said, when you find that purpose, you will have emotions. You'll have good emotions, bad emotions, difficult emotions. But she says, press on, don't give up, and just keep at it until you have learned to tackle those emotions. She also talked about spiritual writing. Going through those emotions, she would write down her emotions, and she would write down all her frustrations and just write down what she wanted to pray about and talk to God about. And then she would take them and tear them up and throw them away.
The facade topic can be very insidious. You may be experiencing a facade in your life and not really be realizing that you're in that kind of a situation. Listen to Anita and how she describes the facade, and let us know if very possibly either you or somebody within your circle of influence is in the facade as Anita describes it. Let's listen together. Anita, thank you so much for joining us again. For our listeners, I want to encourage you to go back to episode 1, where Anita explains a part of her life early on as being uncertain just what value she had. And Anita is a very successful person. You will learn that through these series of podcasts. But Anita felt as if she did not fit the stereotypical profile of not having a degree. She is the very lovable, successful mom of 5 children, and she has followed what is, some people might express it as the road less traveled. Mm-hmm. And Anita, thank you for joining us again. And
Thank you for having me.
You have a topic today that might be just a little difficult for some people to realize what it is, but I think with us talking about it, people can realize what it is, what you personally experienced earlier in life, a life of a facade, meaning I think you were saying that you were living a life that was not entirely Anita, that you wanted to be something that you were uncertain you were. Therefore, you were living something that for you and your self expression was a facade. I think our listeners are going to be very intrigued with your story and how you described it. Can you tell us more about what this life of a facade was? And it's a very personal story for you, Anita, and thank you for sharing.
Most definitely. Yeah, I don't think there was any specific intention of saying like, okay, I'm going to pretend or I'm going to fake or I didn't really even feel like I was faking or pretending necessarily. Like I didn't label that. I think looking back, I've realized that here's where the facade came is when I felt an emotion that was anything less than positive, anything less than happy, anything less than joy filled. I wasn't real with that. I went out and when someone asked me how I was, I said, I'm fine, I'm good, everything's good. If something really bad could happen, but if I had an event to go to that night or something to do with our family, that night no one would have any idea that anything had happened during the day, like if I got bad news or anything like that. So in that respect, I just really did have this facade in that, like, I just wasn't real with my emotional state. So if I was feeling less than, I wasn't able to kind of be real with that.
I think it's very important what you just said, that it's not a life that you intended,
Right.
but rather it just kind of happened.
It just kind of, you know what it's like? It's like a photo filter is what I put on it. Like you take a picture and you look at it and you're like, hey, that's not pretty enough. Like it doesn't look right. And then you start messing with all these filters on your phone and all of a sudden it looks a whole lot better. And that's what you post. That's kind of what I equate this facade to. It's not anything intentional. It's not anything like I'm going to pretend, I'm not going to tell. There was nothing dark like that happening in my life to do that. But I would say like there was this film on everything that I put out.
Anita, that's a great analogy. You, using your term, you photoshopped your life. That is, maybe something happened earlier in the day that you just didn't feel comfortable talking about it. That I don't know if somebody may think negative of you because of or whatever. And so there was a period of your life where you just became aware that this is what is happening. Just curious, was this several years that it took you to have the self-awareness of this facade?
I think it was several years to where it was like, it's not about happiness, it's about fulfillment. And I think there were several years where it was like I had everything in life to be happy. I was happy. I was happy, but I wasn't fulfilled. There was something else that I was kind of seeking out there and I didn't know what that was, but I knew it wasn't like I wasn't being fulfilled. So that's more once I sort of came to that realization, and that took time. That took a really hard conversation with myself, and that took a lot of work to figure out what would fulfill me. So it definitely was over a span of time. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and said, aha.
To the listener who may be wondering what is the difference of being happy and fulfilled, can you explain what that was, at least for you?
Sure. You know, happiness is like, I have 5 kids, I have a great house, I have a great family, I have great friends, great community, all of that. Like I really am a happy person. Fulfillment is different. Fulfillment is I'm living my purpose. And there is where I felt like I wasn't, like I had all of these great things and I was happy with it, but I wasn't fulfilled. And for me, especially if I'm not fulfilled, it kind of like seeps into all areas of my life. So even though I'm happy, but I'm not fulfilled, it's like sort of like, okay, well, are you really happy then? Or, so they kind of do go hand in hand a little bit, but they are very different in that fulfillment is your purpose. It's finding that.
I'm reading what you're saying as the fulfillment could be the next level up from happiness, possibly. I'm not trying to parse words,
No.
but It is, at the end of the day, boy, I'm not only fulfillment, I think, and help me if well, by definition, fulfillment includes being happy, but I mean, fulfillment also means yes, very aptly stated. I am filling my life purpose. I know what I'm designed to do. I am here doing exactly what I'm intended to be and do.
Right. So as you're saying this, like it does bring in this delineation of happiness is like a true human emotion, right? We say, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that. That's more of like a human experience, a human kind of emotion. Fulfillment is something so much greater. Fulfillment is like, this is why I'm here. This is my purpose. This is what I'm doing with my life. This is why I exist. That's fulfillment. And so that comes like on a whole different level. That's not really a human emotion. That's more of like this is why I am here and I'm going to do this.
I want to ask you, happiness, you're happy, like you said, you've got a great family, everything's going fine for you, but there's still that void or that emptiness inside you. And once you have that purpose and find that fulfillment, it's like everything is fine. There's no emptiness. You don't feel lonely.
Right.
You don't feel, I'm not achieving. There's just something else.
So here's a caveat and a warning. When you do find that purpose is going to require a lot of work. That purpose is going to require not only hard work on the outside, but hard work on the inside. So hard work looking at your stuff, hard work working through the things that you, like if you don't feel value, if you don't feel worth, if you don't, whatever problem is going on, when you are seeking that purpose and living that purpose, that will be called out too. So where there is light, there is dark. And so finding your purpose may not bring tons of happiness with it. It will bring fulfillment, but you are going to have times in your life during that purpose seeking and living that purpose a lot that are going to bring you to your knees. And that's all a part of it. That's a part of emptying out the things that are holding you back to live that purpose. And so there is that, you have that warning label on things. That is a warning label. You have to be ready. Yeah.
I want to say that's good to know, because at that point when you're still struggling like that,
right,
you could give up.
Yeah, there's no, I found my purpose, so it fills that hole, so why am I still feeling this? No, it's like I found my purpose, and oh, wow, now all of this stuff is happening in my life, and all of this is kind of coming here and coming there, and now I got to look at it. Now I got to face it. Like I didn't face it before. I didn't look at it. Now I have to, because for me to be right for this purpose and to serve it well, I have to be real with myself and know who I am and operate in that. And so, yeah, the voids are actually going to scream louder. The insecurities are going to scream louder. The resentments are going to scream louder. Everything will scream louder for you to pay attention.
It's very important what you just said. I am a believer, and perhaps Anita and Marty, both of you are as well. Nothing worthwhile in life comes easy. Anything that comes easy can leave easy.
Yeah.
Anything worthwhile and long term that stays with you will require effort, and that total fulfillment is just not going to come easy. Now, easy in the context, it's likely going to take a period of time. I think, and help me, both of you, when you feel you know your purpose, that maybe includes a passion, but you can get up in the morning just saying, I get to do. I have an excitement of doing. It may take a couple of years to learn to do whatever I need to do, but I know I'm making progress. I know that I am on the path to that fulfillment. This is not a labor per se, but rather it's an enjoyment that I know what I'm doing is fulfilling a life passion.
So here's how you know it's your purpose, because even though I just said all of that, like how horrible it can get with looking at different things, or how, not horrible, but hard and really hard, bringing you to your knees hard. The rewards are just so amazing, because it's like you wake up every single day and you are just ready for that day. Like you're ready to go. You're ready to do. You are like, there's no, oh, I don't want to get up. Oh, I don't want to go to work. There's none of that. When you find your purpose, you're willing to trade that lifestyle that you once tried to attain for it. Like, so if someone said, hey, Anita, guess what? Like, you're not going to be able to live in this big, nice house. You're going to have to live in a 1-bedroom house in a, you know, like in a great area, but still you're going to have to, like, you know, you're going to have to sacrifice to fulfill this purpose. It would be easy for me. Like there would be no thinking about it. I would just sign the paper because it's that fulfilling. It's that much of a feeling of, no, I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to do this every day for the rest of my life.
But I want to say, I'm glad you brought up those feelings, because I think people that have the passion and they're going through those feelings, they're going to feel guilty that they have those feelings. But it's okay to have those feelings, because that's what you have to work through to get your purpose.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, that's the first thing is don't assign any guilt, don't assign any blame, don't assign any judgment to what you're feeling. Just feel it. And just be truthful with it. And you don't necessarily need to say it to people. Like you can do, you know, I do something called spiritual writing. And I just basically take a pen, take a piece of paper, and I go. And I just write and write and write and write everything that I'm feeling. Not judging it, not assigning guilt to it, not anything. Just write, let it out, rip it up, throw it away. And that is like an emptying. That is a no, like, and I don't judge it. I just let it go.
That's good.
Talk to us, Anita, about what seems to be an epiphany in your life. What I mean is you reached a point in your life where through your awareness, I'm just going to call it a timeout, so to speak, in life for however long. I need to reassess who I am, what I'm doing. I know I have value. Now, I no longer have to live by your description of facade. I can be who I want to be. I've now discovered, or I'm in the process of discovering, my life purpose, my passion. Talk to us about that process. What was it? It was self-talk, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But was this maybe in a 24-hour period where you just had this epiphany and this, I use the term reckoning, that it all became a reality? I was living a facade. I no longer need to. I no longer want to. I'm going to change my life. Did it happen something like that?
No, it was so gradual. It was really so gradual. I think the one thing that kind of like snapped me was I was playing with my son Nico out on the driveway, and we just had this really great moment in playing where I was like completely and totally present with him. And he looked at me, and he was really young, and he looked at me and he said, that there, I wish you were that all the time. And it took me back, because it's this little 7-year-old, you know, and they speak truth. And he's telling me, like, Mom, this is where you need to live, in this complete presence. See how you are here. And it stopped me, because I was like, wow, he's right. Like, I was completely present in that moment. There was no self-talk. There was nothing in my head. I was not in any other place but right there with him. And that sort of woke me up to, like, if he's seeing this, he's speaking truth as a 7-year-old. And wow, I need to look at this. So that was my first step in actually having that really honest conversation with myself. And to your listeners, that's what I would say. That is your first step, is literally just sitting there by yourself and having that real conversation with yourself and admitting where you are, admitting where you currently are in your state, what is serving you and what is not, of your own traits.
As you're listening to Anita's story, can you think of anyone who might be living a life of a facade as she's describing? I'm not trying to highlight anyone that is falsifying their life, but rather they may not have the courage to be totally honest with you, to be vulnerable, to discuss with you any challenges they're experiencing in life, but rather they just need support. They might need your support to them, that they are better possibly than what they think of themselves, but rather it's a matter of coming to them and just offering support. If you can think of someone who might be living a life somewhat similar to Anita's, I hope you'll share this podcast with them. I hope you'll take the time to reach out to them, and no accusation that they're living a facade, but just being a genuine friend. Just let them know they can trust you. Let them know that you are genuinely there to help because you care. Share this with somebody and let us know who you shared it with, just so that we can come by their side, help you, help each other. Let's work together. In the context of your 7-year-old son, I think of facade, another F word is fake, and it appears your 7-year-old son thought, Mom, you're genuine. Mm-hmm. You're totally genuine.
True. Yeah, fake
I've got a new mom, so to speak.
Fake hits me really hard, and just because I was never that person who was like, let me get my nails done, my toes done, my this done, my that done. You know what I mean? To put that fakeness on. So fakeness is hard because I don't think I had that intention. But you're right. I mean, it's either you were genuine or you were not. So it does go hand in hand. I do look at it more as a filter. You know what I mean? Like when I actually took the picture, fakeness would be like, no, I took someone else's picture and I put it there. I actually took the picture, but then I just put this film over it. It's a filter, and everything looks good through the filter. And that's how I would say it. Whereas Nico was saying, hey, no, the picture's cool. Let's just go with the picture, because look how cool you are when it's just the picture. Mm-hmm. And so that was my realization. That was my point where I was just like, okay, wow, he's right. I want to keep feeling that. What I felt there with him was blissful. I want to keep feeling that.
This whole process took a period of years. It sounds like.
Years.
And so during this period, I want to reflect what Marty was asking. Mm-hmm. Did you wonder if you're on the right track? Did you think, well, gosh, am I just wasting time? Did you feel like giving up at any point? Who, or was it you? Was it a circle of friends that kept you going, saying, Anita, you keep going? And in other words, some of us who may attempt this by ourselves may be willing to quit because we don't see the results we're looking for as fast as we want.
Yeah.
And so you were willing to stick it out, and there was something I just sensed, Anita, internal about you that I'm on the right track. I'll keep going. If it takes decades, I'll keep going and never give up. How would you help that person have the assurance that, you're on the right track, never give up?
Well, okay, so we're already walking through kind of the steps that I did. So the first one was, being real and admitting it and having that conversation with yourself. The next one that you're leading into is basically you have to decide that you want that change. If you have to decide that you want to seek it, you have to decide that this is going to require not me going to school and attending this class, passing this test, getting this degree, and then getting a job. It's going to require me changing the way I live. It's going to be a different way of life. And you have to basically commit to that. And so in that, when you say, okay, no, I want something different, I want something new, I'm going to have to change to get that. There is no end to that. I'm still not at the end of that. So I just have to say, like, once I made that decision, like, no, I'm changing my way of life, everything I kind of did after that was in seeking that new way that best serves me. So the first thing I had to look at is I was always raised with a deep faith in God. I was raised in the Zoroastrian religion. It's definitely connection to energies and life and all of that. And so, but I had to sit there and I had to look at it and say, okay, do I believe in God? Do I really believe in God? If I believe in him, what's my relationship? Who do I believe in? What do I believe? Like, these things I knew were going to be the foundation of forming my new way of life. I had to have a spiritual base, whatever that may be. You have to have that conversation with yourself, no matter what you've been taught. What do I really believe? And what is my connection with this higher power? And what do I believe about this higher power? Is he guiding me? Is he supporting me? Is he always there? Or am I kind of on my own? And because these answers are going to start shaping how you move forward and what your way is.
What I hear you saying is, I'm a work in progress. I, Anita.
I forever will be. I forever will be. It keeps getting better, but I forever will be.
Marty and I say the same thing. We're on
Yeah.
a journey. There is no destination for this journey. It is an infinite game, as Simon Sinek wrote in his book. But it's infinite. We're continuing to progress. There's never a destination that says, we have arrived, I'm done, and I'll sit on the throne, so to speak, and just say I achieved.
It ends the minute before I pass. That's when it ends.
Okay, great. You alluded to, and I don't want to try to put anything else in, but you alluded to there may be other steps that you took that you went through to overcome this facade, to become the real Anita and kind of thing. Were there other things that you either did in the past or you're still doing?
So I think after the podcast, you and I talked after, and we had this sidebar conversation, and you said, it's great for people to be able to seek this and to admit it to themselves, but like, how do they get from point A to point B? And that really kind of stopped me, because I'm like, oh yeah, what is the how? Because once you admit this to yourself, and once you like say, okay, no, I want to do different, I want to change my way of life to seek my purpose. How do I do that? That's key.
And right here is, I always like to include a call to action.
Yeah.
For the person who, because of what you said, Anita, and you're very comfortable being vulnerable of who Anita used to be, for that person who may be thinking right now, I am that Anita, what action should I take to help overcome my feelings of either something to the effect of inadequacy, I'm not sure what value I have, I'm not sure I have a life purpose. Okay. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
How can I get started, Anita?
You get started with putting yourself in a room by yourself and having a real conversation. And admitting it, not feeling guilt, not judging it, not regretting anything. Just, this is where I am, and you admit it. And you take the filter off there in that space with you and with your higher power that you believe in. The second thing is, then you make a decision whether you are fine with staying where you are or if you want something different. And when you decide if you want something different, are you willing to go through all things to get to that different? You can't become something you're not willing to go through a path to become. You can't just say, I want to be a millionaire, and it show up. You have to be willing to go through everything that's required to be that millionaire. So same thing. What do I want that change in life? And if I do, am I willing to go through it? That's your second thing. Your third thing then is, like I said, you need the base for me. And this is just what I did. So this is what worked for me. The base for me was my relationship to a higher power, because that's the one thing that never changes. People come in and out of your life, but that is the one thing that never changes. And so I really did have to seek that out. It wasn't like I just, sat there in that room and decided that day. It's like, no, so I started reading different books. I started listening to different lectures. I started reading about a lot of different religions. I started going to different churches. I would go to temples. I would go pray everywhere. I mean, I pray all day and always. I basically am talking to God all the time. And so once you start seeking that out, your belief system will start to form. You'll start to feel where your beliefs are and who you believe in and what you believe. And then that's authentic to you and that spiritual power. And then after that, you start to, okay, this is who I am for real. I want to change. I'm willing to do the work. This is what I believe in. My base is my spiritual power. And now I'm ready to go. And then you're ready to go is developing that routine that's going to work best for you to facilitate a change. So that's reading, that's watching podcasts, that's meditation, that's yoga, that's exercise, that's eating right, that's walking in the woods for me, that's laying in nature, that's doing spiritual writing, gratitude. Imagery is huge with me. Imagery for me, is my thing that knocks me out of a negative, defeating thought into a positive. So, like, for instance, the sun is huge with me. When I have a negative kind of like spiral in my head, I look up and it just makes me realize like how grandiose this universe is, and that like this little problem in my head is like a piece of dust, less than that. And it brings me out of it. There's a song by Trevor Hall, and he mentions ancient blood. And so when I am having one of those defeating thoughts, I remember how ancient my blood is. Like, my blood literally goes back to the beginning of humans. And I have to honor that. I have to act in a way that honors that ancient blood. And so whenever I feel myself like trying to bite back if I've been bit, I like remember that phrase, ancient blood, and I'm like, no, this is not what ancient blood is about. We don't get into these, tit for tats. We don't cause hate. We don't do any of that. We're ancient. And that brings me back. And so like all of these little tricks you learn as you read, as you do the podcast, as you find your mentors, but it definitely is the seeking. It's the admitting and then the seeking.
Anita, you started several not-for-profit organizations, I believe, in possibly at an earlier age when you were in this facade, you couldn't have even thought of doing then what you're doing now.
Right.
Can you tell us about some of the successes? And I'm asking you personally, you're very humble and you may not want to try to highlight yourself. But no, I want to ask you to highlight those organizations you've gotten started. We may have plenty of listeners who would be interested in helping you advance what you're doing.
So I mentioned Humans of Calvert County the last podcast, and that's basically two friends and I kind of going around the county, and we're interviewing people and we're getting to know them. We're sitting, having conversations, and then sort of writing this story about their life so that we can all kind of learn from it. That's one. Another is Evoke Purpose Incorporated, which is basically a nonprofit that fundraises for other nonprofits so that they can focus on their purpose. And it also matches companies up with fostering volunteering within their organization or fundraising within their organization. And we try and put all funds towards a cause and take care of that cause as we're working through it. So it's just not going to a nonprofit. It's going to getting certifications for kids to go through trade school. There's like a specific route for the money. And then there is Become One, which is a little bit of my heart space there because it is working with teenagers. And we bring out conversations. It's basically saying like how Become One, a big part of it got started because a friend of my daughter's, as everything was happening with the issues that were happening during the pandemic with race and everything, he told me what he feels. He's like, it's like, I feel like I'm at your front door and I'm knocking on it and you open it and I'm looking at you and I'm saying like, do you see what's happening out here? Do you see it? And if you don't see it, like if you see it, why are you pretending not to? And if you do see it, why are you not doing anything about it? And when he said that, like that just stopped me. And we started Become One at a kind of that passion of wanting to create a change with teenagers and just having a conversation, really just like, hey, this is, well, let's talk about race. Let's talk about sexual orientation. Let's talk about gender identification. Let's talk about mental illness. Let's talk about suicide prevention and suicide awareness. And let's talk about all these things. And so that is what we've done. We've started videos. We've worked with students. We've spoken at high schools. I think it's just going to get bigger. It's going to be awesome.
Anita, you have the entrepreneurial mindset. I think of you as a solution provider.
Oh.
You can identify the needs and you're going to propose solutions. And I too am somewhat that way. I think of myself that way, a catalyst that I see a need. I think if I don't, I'll find somebody who does have capability. We're going to bring the two together.
Yeah, I think I see myself as like, I see a negative energy. Let me try and be the positive energy to equalize that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, I have a couple more sites that I have in my head that I think are going to be good to send out there. So it's going to be interesting how I get it all done. But it's like you said, I just want to keep going. I really do just want to keep going. And as these ideas come in my head, people say like, there's only so much you can handle. That's what I hear a lot, but I don't think so. I actually don't think so. I think if God has brought it to me, I think I can do it. And so that is my mentality. Like, if He's brought it to me and He wants me to do it, He'll find a way for me to do it. And I just follow.
Anita, you are very positively inspiring.
Thank
You're
you.
you're very successful. Thank you for joining us, and you have helped a lot of people turn the corner, so to speak. So thank you for that. Anita, there are a couple other podcasts that come to mind that I think you can benefit our listeners. We can talk about that offline, but thank you for sharing today.
So perfect. Thank you for having me.
Several different personal attributes might be in play that could indicate a person is living some sort of a life of a facade. I'm going to talk to you from my personal experience. A low self-confidence, low self-image, an image of an inability to communicate well with people. You have a feeling of being socially awkward. You may feel that you're dumb and stupid. Any number of things can make you feel that way, but those are just some of the attributes that could lead you to think that I would never be vulnerable enough to tell you exactly what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling, because I feel totally inadequate or in some degree of feeling inadequate. And if I feel that way, you ask me how I'm doing, I'm going to give you a very top level, I'm doing just fine. And I don't want for you to ask me about different things in my life. You may wonder why I feel that way. And what you do with people like us, how I used to be, is push us just a little bit further into the facade. And we are the type that will withdraw if necessary. If you approach us without being condescending, you approach us as a person who genuinely cares about us. You want to develop a genuine relationship. You want to connect with us because you don't want us to be in a situation that we're in that you perceive us to be, and likely if we are, if you're very discerning. We can help people overcome a life of facade. We can help them to determine their value. We can help them determine that God made them to be a person of worth, of value, and we can help people determine exactly what that value is. We need to engage with people and be willing to overcome any fears we have. One of the things we need to do is develop trust with a relationship. Once we have developed a trust with people, they will be willing to share with us, and hopefully us with them, any concerns we have. And as we are partnered with and we have accountability partners with different strengths, people can help us overcome different attributes in our life that can help us to overcome a facade if perhaps we are in such a situation. I overcame mine, and Anita has overcome hers. It's actually a lifelong process, but we're well along the way of being able to be the person God designed us to be rather than the false image that we used to portray. Some people will need coaching to overcome the various attributes that they're hanging on to. Marty and I are professional coaches certified by the John Maxwell team. We can help you overcome any inhibitions that you have that keep you from performing at your full potential. Call us. Let's interact with each other. Let's engage. I'm Ron Cooper at 410-586-1875 or Ron at thecooperculture.com or Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, at thecooperculture.com. If you would like to get in contact with Anita Santoyo, call us and we can get you in contact with her. If you would like to be involved with any of the not-for-profit ventures that she has started and is doing well in, she would welcome your participation. But let's engage with each other. Let's work with others to help them overcome any facade they may be dealing with and help people to live their full potential. We look forward to working with you and advancing other people.